The First Minister of Gibraltar has accused Spain of acting like a dictatorship as the row over the British territory continues to escalate. Spain's foreign ministers threatened to introduce a €50 fee to cross the border after a disagreement about an artificial reef he says will damage Spanish fishing grounds. In an interview, he said Gibraltar's party is over. This morning, First Minister Fabian Picardo told Sky News statements like that are unacceptable.
I think this is really quite a silly remark for the Spanish Foreign Minister to have made. He's saber-rattling a la North Korea. It almost makes one feel as if you're listening to the politics of Franco in the 1950s and 60s.
Well, Sky's Foreign Affairs editor Tim Marshall is here, and it was being referred to there as saber-rattling like North Korea.
Perhaps not quite like North Korea, but it is saber-rattling, specifically by the Spanish side, because if such a, not a fine, a tax, if you like, was to be imposed, and it was £40 to get in, £40 to get out, well, two things would flow from that. Three things. One, it would severely restrict the possibility of any Gibraltarians moving into Spain just for the day, or a couple of days. But also there's 10,000 Spanish workers in that region that come into Gibraltar every day for work. And, of course, leave. They wouldn't be able to do that any longer. It wouldn't be economically viable. But the third thing that would flow from it would be a court challenge by the United Kingdom that under the European Union's regulations of freedom of movement and freedom of trade, how could the Spanish impose such a special one-off daily tax? And so I think it would then be kicked into the long grass of the legal system. So will the Spanish do it? I think it's just an idea that they're floating. I think it's August. I think that there's mass unemployment in Spain. It's a right-of-centre government, and it plays well with the electorate. I mean, it's not a massive issue in Spain, but it's an issue.
And this all seems to have started, this particular one, after this disagreement about the artificial reef. Yeah. What are the ins and outs of that, then?
Well, behind the whole thing is sovereignty. The fact is that since 1717, the Treaty of Utrecht, which gave Gibraltar to the British, ever since then, the Spanish have wanted it back, but legally it is under the jurisdiction of the UK. And any issue that then arises is framed in that light, they're using that issue because of the underlining issue, which is who has sovereignty. But on the detail, there's always been spats about fishing rights, exactly where the territorial waters are. And the Gibraltarians are now building a reef. They say it's to restore the natural habitat in order to encourage fishing. The Spanish side say, no, it infringes upon our ability for our fishermen to fish in certain waters, and so there's this standoff, which one way or another will have to be resolved, but it's not going to be resolved by anything other than legally. So either one side or the other backs down, or it'll go to a court of arbitration.
We will wait and see. Tim, thanks very much for that.